Congratulations. You are the NBA Kia MVP.
Last week, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was named this year's NBA Most Valuable Player, and a lot of people, including me, are skeptical. Don't get me wrong, Shai's had a hell of a season, averaging over 30 points and leading his team to the best record in the league. When put up next to other MVP seasons, it fits right into place, but there's a caveat. And his name is Nikola Jokić, who, besides in points and wins, cleared SGA in virtually every other major category. Assists, rebounds, steals, half-court shots, three-quarter court shots, the man did it all. And yet, for most of the season, Gilgeous-Alexander has topped the charts. Only a 31-point, 21-rebound, 22-assist game, something we've never seen before, could put Jokić out front. And even then, it only lasted a week. Despite his 3 prior MVPs, the Joker has somehow put together undoubtedly his best season yet. Yet it still won't be enough for his 4th MVP. But why is that? Why are the voters rewarding a season that was great over a season that was historic? Historically, the MVP hasn't just come from any team, but some of the best teams in the league, usually the first or second best, which makes sense. If a player is truly valuable, it should reflect in their team's winning, but that isn't always the case. Take Jokic's first MVP in 2021, a year that the Nuggets finished in 5th, or his second in 2022, when the Nuggets were ranked all the way down in 10th. That is the lowest ranked team to house an MVP since... oh, well, would you look at that? The point is that for a while, it looked like the voters were willing to put aside the team in favor of the player, a total revamp of a 7-decade norm. But that's why this year's race was so special, because the team in question couldn't be ignored.
Tell me, what were you the god of again?
Last year, the OKC Thunder steamrolled the league with a 68-14 record, winning nearly 5 out of every 6 games. That is the most wins any team has had since the 73-win Warriors of 2016. And that year, their leader, Steph Curry, won the MVP unanimously, first and only time that's ever happened. So what does that say about Shai? Just like Steph, he had the most points per game. In fact, he put up a top 25 scoring season of all time. So case closed, right? Well, sure, if scoring the ball was the only consideration, but as we move further down the stat sheet, you'll see the reason for all the debate. While the Gilgeosaurus might be the league's leading scorer, Jokic is here too. And here, and here, and here. In fact, this season, Jokic became the first player in NBA history to stand on the podium of points, assists, rebounds, and steals. In the words of Jimmy High Roller, he may not be the best at anything, but he is one of the best at everything. And despite being a 7-foot center that history tells us should be living in the paint, he also has the 9th best shooting percentage of anyone in the league. And his 3-point percentage isn't too far behind either. No player has ever ranked so high in so many different categories in a single year. And he even takes a slice out of SGA's greatest strength, scoring, as it was Jokic who had the highest scoring game all season, becoming the 3rd player in NBA history with a 60-point triple-double. He also became the first player to ever have a 30-point triple-double-double, and he became the first player to average a triple-double for a whole season since... well, would you look at that? If Jokic wasn't already a 3-time MVP, we wouldn't be having this discussion. He's put together averages and stat lines that even 50 years from now, people won't believe. A player of any size, any position putting up these kinds of numbers, they look like a typo. But like I said earlier, if a player is truly valuable, it should reflect in their team's winning. And while the Thunder sit 16 wins ahead of second place in the West, the Nuggets finished the year 4th in the conference and 7th in the whole league. While their playoff series has been surprisingly competitive, OKC lapped Denver in the regular season, which for most voters is where the argument ends, hence, yeah. But as long as we're talking teams, I'd like to show you this. A team's net rating boils down to 2 things, how many points they gain and how many points they give up. With Shai on the floor, the Thunder scored about 16 more points than their opponents, far and away the best in the league, but without, they dropped to 10, which, while worse, would still be the best net rating in the NBA. Meanwhile, when the Nuggets had Jokic, they scored about 9 more points than their opponents, enough for second best. But without him, they gave up 10, putting them 29th in league rankings. With or without Shai, OKC is a championship caliber team, but without Jokic, Denver would only be better than the Washington Wizards, boasting one of the worst net ratings for any team ever. So if this award is really meant for the player with the biggest impact on his team, how could you look at this and possibly say that it should have gone to Shai? Well, By the same token, how could you say that Steve Nash should have gotten it over Kobe in '06? Or that Karl Malone should have gotten it over Jordan in '97? Or Bill Russell over Wilt in '62, etc., etc.? This is because the award, at its core, is subjective. It isn't decided by numbers or records, but by people. Impressionable, biased people. And I'm biased too. I'm a Nuggets fan, so of course I want to see my guy win, just as any Thunder fan would want the same for theirs, and I'm not saying that either of them are perfect. On defense, Jokic is the world's biggest cone, and Shai may as well build his house at the free throw line, but everyone prioritizes different metrics. Wins, points, rankings, floppiness, it's all subjective. And personally, I don't mind SGA winning, partly because Jokic doesn't either.
The guy deserves it. He's really amazing.
But also because we've seen this before. Jokic has already been snubbed of a deserved MVP, though the one big pivotal difference this time around is that I believe Shai can lead his team to a title, while Joel Embiid cannot. Alas, the actual robbery didn't occur here. It didn't even occur here. No, the true date of the crime was March 7th, 2023, on a random Tuesday episode of First Take. You see, up until this point, Jokic was the runaway favorite, averaging a near triple-double and leading the Nuggets to the best record in the West. But then,
when it comes down to guys winning MVP since 1990, it's only 3 guys that won the MVP that wasn't top 10 in scoring. Steve Nash, Jokic, and Dirk Nowitzki. What do those guys have in common? I'll let it sit there and marinate. You think about it.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Needless to say, the MVP voters felt the winds change, and while Embiid packed his shiny new trophy for his yearly trip to Cancun, Jokic channeled his inner Jordan and led the Nuggets to their first ever NBA championship. I know the MVP is a regular season award, but do you really think the guy who said this wasn't feeling that in the offseason, and continued to feel it in the mere 58 games he's played ever since? The dude won an MVP and basically dipped, and the most ironic part? In the year before, the year that he said this, he, in all honesty, probably should have won it over Jokic, as just like SGA, he scored the most points per game and led his 76ers to finish higher than the Nuggets. But as seems to be the theme, it just wasn't enough. Like the dipshits on ESPN, we could keep this argument running in circles till the universe implodes, or until LeBron retires, whichever comes first. There are so many advanced metrics by which you can judge a basketball player that it's absurd, but there's a reason why while we continue to talk about an award for games already played, the candidates, the 2 best players on Earth, are still playing, battling for a chance at something bigger. The media, the voters, which are basically one and the same, put the MVP on a pedestal level with the title, but if you ask the players, it's clear which one of these trophies means more.
I'd rather, again, win a championship than win an MVP.
I never sat there like, I want to be an all-star, I want to be an MVP. I sat there like, I want to win this tournament.
I don't want to leave you with a diminished view of the MVP, because SGA, Jokic, even Embiid will all be remembered as greats, accolades and all. The real problems are inherent to the award itself and how it's given through the blatant double standards of people more concerned with spinning narratives than appreciating genuine greatness. I don't even think they know what they're looking for, because they cannot convince me that this man deserved the award and this man didn't. All this drama and discourse has turned the MVP race into a sideshow, a mere afterthought to the fight for a championship, which is why, as a basketball fan, I don't much care about who lifts the trophy in May. I'm more concerned with who lifts it in June. Thanks for watching.